Guys, this is Sukanya. I'm a data science and artificial intelligence technical trainer. So far we have been successfully executed a multi-agent conversation system with a full delegation logic, including the Google ADK and Light LLM. And we have been implementing the root agent, coordinator agent, that is fully orchestrate conversation by intelligent delegation tasks, okay, to the right sub-agents. So exactly like a real-world agentic AI, right? Which means what? The root agent dynamically handles like user messages. It is going to dynamically handle these user messages, and it is going to redirect automatically delegate, which means what? Automatically gets delegated to the greeting agent and then weather agent and weather tool or farewell agent, right? So this confirms the execution of the entire system, like no root agent orchestration, or it is like no intent based delegation. So it is going to delegate the intent based on the user request, and also specialized sub agents. So these are going to be like no specialized sub agents, and it is going to execute the tool pipeline. So like get weather, say hello, and then say goodbye. So these are the some of the tools we have defined it in these sub-agents. Okay. Next, multimodal support through Light LLM with Gemini and then Grok. So we are going to implement with what? Gemini and then Grok. And the model is runner managed event streaming, and then it is going to make the tool calling based on the runner agent. So far we have successfully executed like no scalable agentic AI system. So this is going to be the foundation, and where each agent has a clear role and the root agent act like a project manager. So next up in the upcoming coding, we are going to do the session state initialization, which means what? We are going to create like no new session service, new session with initial stage, and we are going to retrieve and verify the state. So this is going to enable your agents to remember the things across multiple turns, just like a conversation where user preferences no persistence, right? Which means what? We are going to import the ADK. Okay, this session, in this line, what we are doing, we are going to import the ADK session that stores the conversation history and tool outputs and memory state. And in why we actually wanted to import, because this is going to allow your agents to persist the state with the session. So which means what? User preferences, long conversation, or no personalization. So all these aspects it is going to maintain. And we are creating an object for this session service, which means what? We are creating a fresh memory container. So separate from previous runs. So previously we executed some separate runs, right? So apart from that, we are going to create some separate one. Why? Because we need to demonstrate, we need a new demonstration state, so that no, you don't carry over from the earlier runs. So what we are doing here, we are creating a clean session service, ensures like no old messages, no old state, or it is going to be like no independent memory. And we are creating like no new session ID, and also we are going to create like no new user ID, which means what? Every session it's been identified by app name, user ID, and session ID. Okay, this triple uniquely identifies the memory bucket. And what we are going to define, we are going to define a new user and a new session that ensures actually clean isolated memory example, which avoids the conflict from the earlier sessions. Okay, so that is to define, okay, to define with the new state and then new user ID. So next what we are doing, we are going to do some initial stage. So this is what the initial state. So why do we want to define this initial state? Because at the start of the conversation, you're storing, for example, the user prefers the temperature in Celsius. In this example, the user prefers the temperature of the weather report should be in Celsius. So this is extremely powerful. So this state can be used by your weather agent to always convert the temperatures and to decide which format to return, whether it is a Fahrenheit or Celsius, and it is going to be like no personalized response. So in order to do that, you want to do initiate with the initiate responses. So for example, if the user is asking what's the weather in the Paris, so the agent sees that user prefer Celsius, the agent is going to choose this user's initiate stage actually state. So it has been given like no Celsius, so the agent will return like no 10 degrees Celsius rather than Fahrenheit. If the user later says, okay, please use Fahrenheit in the next time, and you can able to update the state to Fahrenheit here. So now all the feature answers adapt to automatically. So this is exactly how the real AI agent personalized interactions will be happen. So in the beginning, we are initializing with Celsius, but later if the user is giving with Fahrenheit also, it would also replace the Fahrenheit over here. Okay, so that is what the power of the AI agent's personalized interactions. So next we are going to create like no session with the initial state. So this coding, right? The session stateful coding. So this is going to create a brand new session. Okay, brand new session that, which means what? With your initial memory loaded from the start. So why this matters? Because most of the AI memory system lets you set the state after the conversation begins. Okay, so but no, ADK is more powerful. you can set the initial memory upfront actually. So which is going to enable you the onboarding preferences and system level defaults or preloaded logic, and you can able to configure the agent also. So which means what you're creating actually a brand new session with your initial memory loaded. Right. So what is the app name and what is the user ID, which user is calling, what is the session memory, session ID which represents the memory, and also the initial state. Initial state here we have created with the Celsius. So everything has been done successfully. So next what it is, so next this coding is going to represent the retrieve session, which means what it is going to load the session details from memory. So in the previous coding, we have created a memory, right? But it is going to load the memory. So why do we actually wanted to do it? Because to check like whether the session exists, whether the session exists or not. So when you're loading, it is going to check, and also whether the state was stored correctly or whether the system is working correctly. So all these, we will need to do it. So that's why we want to load the session details from memory. So after loading it, we are just printing out the initial session state. So whatever the session state it's retrieved from the memory, we are just printing it out. So you can able to see right now in memory, session created for demonstration and session state demo is created with the user state demo. And what is the initial state preferences? So this is what we have created, right? So initial state preference was the Celsius. My weather agent has to return with the Celsius. So here I am successfully executed the coding set.